In 1981, Minor Threat released the song Straight Edge, and the lyrics go, "I'm a person just like you, but I've got better things to do than sit around and smoke dope, cause I know that I can cope. Always gonna keep in touch, never gonna need a crutch, I've got the straight edge." In my speech, I will be discussing the straight edge movement and its involvement in the youth in the hardcore punk scene. There are numerous social issues that are getting more and more serious with each day, and straight edge forces youth to go from complacency to advocacy, ensuring that they stand up for what they believe in. We all face issues and hardships in our day-to-day life, and straight edge encourages truth and clarity in how we deal with our problems. The purpose of my speech today is to inform others of the straight edge movement, including its origin and history, its turn towards violence and militance, and how the movement is faring today. Let's start at the roots. The X symbol in straight edge actually came from marking the hands of showgoers that were underage at bar venues to know not to serve them alcohol. When straight edge sentiments came about, this was spun into something more positive. It no longer meant that you weren't allowed to drink alcohol, but that you chose not to, and that there was power in the choice to say no. It's also common to see people X up at shows, which refers to the act of drawing giant X's on the back of your hands to represent straight edge. One song in particular sparked the straight edge movement, and it was the one at the beginning of the speech actually, Straight Edge by Minor Threat. Ian MacKaye, the vocalist for Minor Threat, made proclamations about the group's sobriety, inspiring youth to also take the pledge to be substance-free. He's also credited with starting and leading the straight edge movement, although he didn't intend for a movement to come of this new identity and thus distance himself from it. Continuing on from history, we can go on to how it grew into something that went against some of its core values, and that is straight edge violence. There was divisions in approach to the straight edge culture. There were tolerant straight edges who were more positive and tended to maintain the philosophy that it was a lifestyle choice or personal choice over anything. And there were the more militant types who tended to be more hyper-masculine, outspoken, and maintain a social boundary around the straight edge identity, not associating with others who drank or smoked. One group that comes to mind when talking about straight edge violence is the Courage Crew, which is a brotherhood of straight edge men with a penchant for being particularly violent at shows. This includes jumpings, assaultings, beatings, stabbings, etc. There's actually mixed reviews on them. Quite a few people actually respect the Courage Crew as they're very true to what they believe in and ardent in standing up for straight edge values. And a large amount of people also abhor them because of their violent actions and their militance and their plaguing of the reputation of the scene. There's also many reactions to the violence in straight edge culture. A lot of straight edge bands started to make more lighthearted music and even started to mock the violent sentiments that were running through the scene. A majority of the people doubled down on their positivity when met with negativity, reinforcing their ideas of tolerance and opting for a less outspoken lifestyle of being straight edge. Some people ultimately left the scene, not breaking edge or using drugs, but simply ceasing to form an identity around their sobriety. And now that we've discussed straight edge violence, we can move on to the movement today. Straight edge holds a different meaning for everyone involved. Some people have personal run-ins related to drug or addiction, and it could be them, their family members, their friends, or anybody they know for that matter. Some people don't have any sort of personal ties to these issues, but make the pledge to not start using regardless and prevent these issues from ever starting. One unifying motive, however, is the message of truth and clarity found in the straight edge scene, where positivity and camaraderie are very much encouraged. There's also the message of political advocacy, as those who are straight edge often find themselves like they're having their eyes open to other social issues and wanting to advocate for them. I know for a fact that straight edge is far from fizzling out, even though it's had its low points through its history, because I went to the Life and Death Brigade in Kentucky this February, and about a third of the youth were X'd up, and this showed me that it was alive and well. There was also the presence of several straight edge bands. Having made all these points, let's move forward. Today I spoke about the straight edge scene, including its history and its roots, its turn towards violence, and how the movement's doing today and whether the scene is still alive even. It serves a lot of the same roles as it did when it first started, providing a positive outlet for youth who are coming onto the scene, as the punk scene was very much influenced by drugs and nihilism. And it showed that you can have a good time without using drugs, especially for older straight edgers, setting the example for these young folk. And ultimately, straight edge is about being true to yourself and doing what you think is best for you, your body, and your mindset, and your community. That's the ultimate message here, and I'm glad that you got to hear my speech. Thank you.